Right now, at this exact second, your body is swimming in a toxic soup of microscopic metabolic waste, environmental pollutants, and cellular exhaust. And your primary filtration system is quietly shutting down without sending you a single warning sign. You might feel a little tired, maybe your lower back aches occasionally, or your face looks slightly puffy in the morning, but you ignore it. But here is the terrifying reality that the medical industry rarely discusses openly. The trendy green juice cleanses, the aggressive weekend fasting protocols, and those expensive powdered detox kits you are buying are actually forcing your kidneys to work twice as hard, pushing them dangerously closer to the brink of complete exhaustion. And there is one bizarre, almost forgotten temperature trick regarding how you brew a specific leaf that I will reveal at the very end of this video that completely changes how your body processes cellular waste. If you do it wrong, you are drinking literal dead water. But if you do it right, it acts like a biological reset button for your filtration cells. But the real problem is not what you are eating. It is how stagnant your internal fluids have become. Most people think kidney health is just about chugging a massive gallon jug of plain water every single day and hoping for the best. And this is where most people fail miserably. Water alone does not carry the specific phytonutrients required to dilate the microscopic blood vessels inside your kidneys. Your kidneys are essentially two bean-shaped supercomputers made of millions of tiny sieves called nephrons. They filter about 50 gallons of blood every single day. Imagine trying to push thick, muddy sludge through a coffee filter. That is exactly what happens when your blood is thick with inflammation, high glucose, and stress hormones. The pressure builds up, the delicate filter mesh tears, and you permanently lose nephrons. You cannot grow them back. Once they are gone for good. But here is the secret no one tells you about natural optimization. You do not need extreme lifestyle overhauls or miserable liquid diets to fix this. You just need to leverage the natural biochemical reactions of specific ancient teas that act as a solvent to break down that sludge. Let us dive into the first powerful biological tool, which is dandelion root tea. Now, you probably think of the dandelion as that annoying yellow weed ruining your front lawn, but modern pharmacognosy views it completely differently. Dandelion root is one of the most potent, scientifically backed liver and kidney tonics on the planet. But wait, this is where the plot thickens. Why are we talking about the liver when we are focused on the kidneys? Because the liver and the kidneys are locked in a desperate biochemical partnership. The liver is the heavy machinery that breaks down complex toxins, while the kidneys act as the exhaust pipe that flushes those broken down toxins out of the body. If your liver is sluggish from processed foods and poor sleep, it dumps partially processed, highly toxic waste directly into your bloodstream. Your kidneys are then forced to deal with this incredibly harsh chemical load, which literally burns out the nephrons. Dandelion root steps in as the ultimate mediator. It stimulates bile production in the liver, clearing the backlog of toxins before they ever reach your kidneys. And this is exactly why so many extreme detoxes fail. They target the kidneys directly, while leaving the liver completely congested. But that is just the beginning of what this root can do. Dandelion root acts as a powerful diuretic. Now, I know what you are thinking. Coffee makes you use the bathroom, so why not just drink coffee? And this is the trap millions of people fall into. Pharmaceutical diuretics and heavy caffeine strip your body of potassium, leaving you dehydrated, prone to heart palpitations, and suffering from brutal muscle cramps. Dandelion root is what scientists call a potassium-sparing diuretic. It naturally encourages your body to release excess stagnant fluid, lower systemic blood volume, and relieve the literal physical pressure on your kidneys, but it simultaneously replaces the potassium you lose in the urine. It is an absolute masterclass in biological optimization. It flushes the system without depleting the system. To get this right, you cannot just dip a cheap, dusty tea bag into lukewarm water. You need roasted dandelion root. The roasting process unlocks specific polysaccharides that feed the good bacteria in your gut, which reduces systemic inflammation before the blood even reaches your kidneys. You take 1 heaping tablespoon of the roasted root, drop it into a pot of water, and bring it to a rolling boil. Then lower the heat and let it simmer aggressively for 15 entire minutes. This is a decoction, not a standard steep. The dark, rich, coffee-like liquid that remains is packed with taraxasterol, a compound documented to drastically reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. You drink 1 cup of this earthy brew in the mid-afternoon, right when your cortisol levels start to dip and your body is craving a reset. But even with all that power, dandelion root only addresses the fluid and liver dynamics. We still have to deal with the actual oxidative damage happening directly inside the kidney tissue itself. And this brings us to the second weapon in our arsenal, oolong tea. You might have heard of black tea or green tea, but oolong is the forgotten middle child that possesses the most unique metabolic properties of them all. Oolong is a non-herbal tea, meaning it comes from the Camellia sinensis plant, but it undergoes a very specific, carefully monitored partial oxidation process. And this is where the magic happens. By partially oxidizing the leaves, oolong retains the protective catechins of green tea, but also develops the complex theaflavins found in black tea. This creates a biochemical cocktail that acts like a microscopic shield for your renal cells. Every time you consume sugar, experience psychological stress, or breathe in city pollution, your body produces free radicals. These are unstable molecules that act like microscopic shrapnel, tearing through your blood vessels and slicing up the delicate tissue of your kidneys. Over time, this oxidative stress literally hardens the kidneys, reducing their ability to filter anything. But here is what the clinical data shows. The specific polyphenols in oolong tea cross the cellular membrane and neutralize these free radicals on contact. They act like a sponge, absorbing the damage before it can permanently alter your kidney structure. And this is the exact part where most health enthusiasts get completely lost. They assume more antioxidants mean more protection, so they take massive, concentrated pill supplements. But isolated supplements bypass the body's natural absorption checkpoints and can actually cause liver toxicity. Oolong tea provides these compounds in their natural, bioavailable matrix, meaning your body absorbs exactly what it needs and effortlessly discards the rest. Furthermore, oolong tea activates a process called autophagy inside the renal cells. Autophagy is your body's internal recycling program. It commands the damaged, aging kidney cells to consume their own broken parts and rebuild themselves into younger, more efficient versions. It is literal cellular anti-aging. But if you brew oolong tea with boiling water, you instantly scorch the leaves and destroy the fragile polyphenols. You are left with a bitter, useless cup of hot leaf water. You must use water that is exactly 185 degrees Fahrenheit. If you do not have a thermometer, just bring the water to a boil and let it sit with the lid off for exactly 2 minutes before pouring it over the loose leaves. Let it steep for 3 minutes. No more, no less. This extracts the sweet floral notes and the maximum concentration of autophagy-triggering compounds. Drink this in the morning, about an hour after you wake up, to flush out the metabolic waste your brain and body generated overnight. It gives you a calm, laser-focused energy without the chaotic, kidney-stressing cortisol spike that comes from a double shot of espresso. But even if you optimize your liver with dandelion and protect your cells with oolong, there is still one massive, painful obstacle blocking your path to perfect kidney health: uric acid. And this leads us to the third and most aggressive natural filter cleanser, nettle leaf tea. Stinging nettle is a plant covered in tiny, needle-like hairs that inject histamine and formic acid into your skin if you brush past it in the wild. It is a plant that demands respect. But when you dry the leaves and steep them in hot water, it transforms from a painful weed into one of the most powerful blood-purifying agents known to human history. Nettle leaf has been used by ancient Roman soldiers and medieval herbalists for a very specific reason. It forces the body to expel uric acid. Now, why does this matter to you? And here is the brutal truth about the modern diet. Every time you eat a heavy protein meal, consume high fructose corn syrup, or drink alcohol, your body produces uric acid as a byproduct. If your kidneys are functioning perfectly, they filter this acid out into your urine. But because we are constantly bombarding our bodies with artificial food-like substances, our blood becomes saturated with uric acid. The kidneys cannot keep up. So, the body does something horrifying. It crystallizes the acid and stores it in your joints and directly inside the tiny tubules of your kidneys. These microscopic, razor-sharp crystals cause chronic, low-grade inflammation that destroys kidney function from the inside out. But this is exactly where nettle leaf performs its absolute miracle. Nettle contains active compounds that act as natural solvents for uric acid crystals. It dissolves the microscopic shards back into a liquid state and gently dilates the renal tubules so the acid can be flushed completely out of the system. It is literally like pouring an organic, natural drain cleaner down a clogged pipe, but without any of the destructive side effects, and the benefits do not stop there. Nettle leaf is incredibly dense in trace minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron. When you flush your kidneys, you normally risk losing vital minerals, but nettle tea provides its own replacement therapy. It soothes the microinflammation in the urinary tract, making it easier for the bladder to fully empty, which prevents stagnant urine from backing up and causing kidney infections. To harness this power, you need to brew it strong. Take a large handful of dried nettle leaves, place them in a massive glass jar, pour boiling water over them to the very top, seal the jar tightly, and let it sit overnight. Yes, you heard me correctly. Overnight. This is called an overnight herbal infusion, and it is entirely different from making a quick cup of tea. By letting it steep for 8 to 12 hours, you extract the heavy minerals and the deep tissue anti-inflammatory compounds that a simple 5-minute steep leaves behind in the plant fiber. In the morning, you strain the dark green, earthy liquid and sip it over ice throughout the day. It tastes like the essence of nature, deeply grounding and incredibly refreshing. But remember that mystery loop I opened at the very beginning of this video? The bizarre brewing mistake that turns healthy tea into literal poison for your kidneys? Here is the absolute game changer that no one ever talks about. It involves the silent killer known as oxalates. Many people think they are doing the right thing by drinking massive amounts of black tea, spinach smoothies, and raw almond milk to be healthy. But all of these foods are incredibly high in oxalates, which are naturally occurring defense chemicals found in plants. If you consume too many oxalates, they bind with calcium in your blood and form solid, agonizing kidney stones. If you are drinking poorly sourced, cheap black tea bags that have been sitting on a grocery store shelf for 3 years, you are mainlining concentrated oxalates directly into your exhausted kidneys. The secret is the combination of temperature and sourcing. You must always use whole, loose-leaf teas, and you must add a small splash of natural citrus, like lemon or lime, to your tea. The citric acid in the lemon chemically binds to the oxalates in the tea while it is still in your digestive tract, preventing them from ever crystallizing in your kidneys. This one tiny 5-second habit completely neutralizes the threat of kidney stones while allowing you to absorb all the life-saving antioxidants. So, when you look at the master blueprint, you have roasted dandelion root to optimize the liver-kidney axis and flush stagnant fluids. You have precisely temperature-controlled oolong tea to shield the nephrons from oxidative destruction and trigger cellular autophagy. And you have an overnight infusion of nettle leaf to dissolve razor-sharp uric acid crystals and remineralize the blood. This is not some temporary, starvation-based detox that leaves you weak and miserable. This is true biological optimization for the lazy. You are simply swapping out the dead, artificially flavored liquids you currently drink for hyper-functional, ancient botanical tools that do the heavy lifting for you. You do not have to change your entire life overnight. You just have to change what is in your cup. Your kidneys have been fighting a silent war to keep you alive since the day you were born. It is time you finally gave them the ammunition they need to win. The chemistry is proven, the methodology is simple, and the results are undeniable. Start brewing tomorrow morning and watch how quickly your body transforms.